I'm Jeremias Adams-Prassl. I'm a professor of law at Magdalen College at Oxford University, and I've been working on the gig economy for the last 5 or 6 years. I'm the author of the book Humans as a Service, The Promise and Perils of Working the Gig Economy, where I look at different narratives that have shaped how we think about the gig economy, from innovation through to entrepreneurship. One of the key contestations in the gig economy has been the employment status of its drivers, its riders, its workers. Some claim that they are self-employed, independent contractors out there as entrepreneurs by themselves, whereas others argue that the tight control that's exercised by the platforms makes them workers. Now, this has huge socioeconomic implications because as an entrepreneur, you're out there fending for yourself. As an employee or a worker, you enjoy access to a broad range of benefits, including minimum wage, holiday pay, maybe even unfair dismissal protection. And it's really interesting that while we started out with a very strong argument from the platforms in particular, that their riders, their workers are self-employed, Supreme Courts around the world are increasingly starting to disagree with that. So I think the single most important key to a sustainable platform economy that works for consumers, that works for workers, is to ensure that there's a level playing field. You want to have one set of rules that everybody plays by. That's great for innovation. That's great for worker protection. So, for example, recognition as worker status would allow workers collectively to bargain for their rights. It would also ensure that everybody's entitled to the same basic floor of rights. We must never forget that there is no inherent contradiction between flexible work and legal protection. One of the really important myths that we need to bust about the gig economy is that there's somehow a choice. Either I've got flexible work or I've got work that's legally protected. That's simply not the case in any jurisdiction I've studied. It's very clear that work can be flexible. What's key is that we don't see the gig economy as a distinct separate phenomenon, but rather regulated in the broader scope of our labour market. I think it's really, really important, though, that we ensure that as we come out of the pandemic, we don't end up with a labour market that is entirely gigified, but actually that we end up in a world transitioning to flexible work, but flexible work that is genuinely flexible, i.e. where the flexibility is two-sided and not just one-sided with all the risks on individual workers. The employment relationship is historically the best place to trade off control on the one hand and labour market risks on the other. And so that's why I think if we want to have a gig economy, which we should, that works for consumers, provides great services, it has to be built on the basic floor of employment rights. Because yes, it might make products and services a little bit more expensive, but ultimately everyone benefits. Workers, customers, and all of us as taxpayers.